All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I am with the Ghost once again, and so many things developing right now. Trump is going to make a decision pretty soon. He's saying he's going to wait around 2 weeks, right, Ghost, for him to
That's what
make a
he's saying.
decision. Yeah,
Yeah.
Benjamin Netanyahu saying, "Nah, we need 24 to 48 hours." There's all kinds of propaganda and articles coming out all over the place saying we can't be sleeping in bunkers forever. That's what they're saying in Israel. Other places in the Middle East, people are rioting or protesting on the streets to end Israel. It's really hot right now, and basically everyone's just waiting on what's Trump going to do. That's that's what the whole world's waiting on right now. Ghost, thank you for joining me.
No problem. Good to be here.
Man, it's an incredible time to be alive. There's so much going on, and if you just go through the internet, you'll see, we can't sleep underground forever. Iran must fall. All this propaganda coming out. Many residents of Tel Aviv sheltering in railway stations and car parks have pinned their hopes on President Trump. Pinning their hopes on President Trump. They really want him to commit to this move.
Yeah, and it's all propaganda to push. And look at the few things that Mr. Netanyahu has said to try to sell it one way and selling it to the American people, not only him, but a few of their other media people. Um, no, one thing I don't think the public's been provided with is why did it have to be now? Why did it have to be now? Are you trying to beat I don't know, maybe some economic unrest coming in July? Make sure you have the money to do what you want to do. Why now? He's facing a lot of criminal allegations over there right now. He and his wife.
Bibi
Why
is.
now? Yes, yes. I should
Right.
have
So he
been
needed
clear
to
on that.
start this war, correct?
I think it was being saved. It was imminent one way or another. It was going to happen sooner or later. And right now seems to be the time that he chose to take advantage of it all because no one has put out anything that said it had to be now. And this is why. I think it's political expedience as much as it is in the end a strategic move. But that strategic move, I think, from his angle was to get us involved in boots on the ground. And that's not a very popular idea, as you know, over here at all.
Well,
And
I'm
like I've said
wondering.
in the past, you got to get past one group with that nonsense, the American parent who is going to say, no, I'm not letting my kid go fight in another friggin' Middle East war. Over what?
Here's a picture.
Iran?
Here's a picture of Trump. Trust the plan. Nothing can stop what is coming. I mean, he's giving that letter in the alphabet 17 a lot of ammunition. I was the hunter,
And,
and now I'm the hunter.
yep, that statement right there.
Come on, Ghost. That's huge, and I know you know a lot about this. This is not something that you play with or just put out there.
No, you don't use phrases like that willy-nilly right now. For those who know, they know. For those who don't, well, they're scared, in the populace are scared. They're screaming, they're crying, they're protesting, and they're not making a lot of sense. Again, a lot of emotionalism over what's really going on, and they don't know. So when he makes statements like that, those types aren't getting it, and
I'm
doesn't
not.
matter at this point.
I'm
What
not
is
worried
going to be
one
what
bit.
is.
I'm not worried one bit, to be honest with
Neither am
you.
I.
I think he's,
Yeah.
my opinion, like I said, I talked to people from different camps, and the consensus with the ones that are really involved, they're all saying the same thing, like that Israel's going to be exposed. What I'd like to say, and what goes along with this picture is they're being saved for last. And I can't help but think that. I can't help that this is the direction it's going. And as at the same time, Ghost, he's exposing Mr. O. I mean, this is to me the
A
most
lot.
obvious hit ever, especially what he's putting on his True Social. He's letting everybody know. He's sending out the comms.
Right. And that began before all of this even blew up over there recently, didn't it?
Yes.
So it was basically seeing how they were gonna play it, and they played it. All right, here we are. Now here's another thing to add to the mix. Um, Mainstream media is at its weakest it's ever been. And anyone with two brain cells to rub together who looks at it knows that they are an operational wing of all of this foreign garbage that's been happening in our country for decades, been beyond actually. But let's take the last 4 or 5 decades in particular. What is being heavily looked at, there's even some things that leaked out on it, was the idea of banning pharmaceutical advertising.
Mm.
It is a moral and ethical issue. It should go back to pharmaceutical companies should not be able to have all these wonderful commercials of the village. Everybody's out there dancing. Look, we're all chubby. We're sticking ourselves with this and we're getting thin without having to do anything. All of these, on and on and on and on. Big pharma commercials on those channels mainly. That's their own life support. In other words, they're being subsidized to stay alive. But what's keeping them alive, in addition, is and barely at that, actually, they are being, like I said, they're still on life support with big pharma advertising. If you put big pharma advertising back the way it used to be, between you and your doctor, not between the television and you, ask your doctor if you've got symptoms of blah blah blah. All that nonsense has to go away. That is not good for the practice of medicine. Number one. Number two, it takes away their last foothold of funding. So you're down to one 𝗷𝗄𝗯 on one particular broadcast. Take away the pharmaceutical advertising. What do you got?
Wow.
You've got a
Yeah,
dead
you're
entity.
right. So that's how the MSN comes crumbling down.
In other words, while they're at their weakest, then you take the most important thing to them right now, which is pharmaceutical advertising. Take that away. Bye bye. Finally, you're going to shut up or you're going to change your format. I hear rumblings that
That's like
CNN
the
is going
last
over to a more
Jumanji.
conservative
That's like the
platform.
last. That's like the last Jumanji block right there, right? Bing
There
and
you go. Yep. That one
wow.
right down there in the lower middle, it's called MSM. You pull that sucker out, the whole thing. I mean, pharmaceutical advertising for MSM, pull that out. They just naturally fall. It's called business. It's
I mean,
business.
there's a lot of alternative podcasters, even myself, that sometimes I get more than a CNN video. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago, their highest ratings on any one show at any one time, rather, was 346,000. Again, take away bus stations, doctors' offices, train stations, airports, all mechanic shops, everywhere that they're tuned into that just because it's like a pacifier for people sitting in the waiting room. That's in that number also. So you might have less than 300,000 actual people watching it for any 15-minute stretch at a time. And that was their best. That's just an example.
So here's the picture of
So you
kneeling. Donald Trump posted this. It says, "We know who is responsible for Iran's nuke program." So to me, Ghost, what Trump is doing right now is like a masterful, uh, you know, grandmaster chess move, which is expose Israel and expose this man right here. And I think he's doing it all at the same time. And I can't
exactly.
say what he's going to do in the next 2 weeks, but I feel like he's flushing them out. Attention's being drawn on them, and Israel's going to be just exhausting themselves. It's like taking the fighter into the 10th, 11th, and 12th round, and he's punched himself out, and they're going to have nothing left to fight Iran. I've heard Iran is already cracking the Iron Dome. They're a lot tougher than what Israel expected, and they're going to be begging for
Well,
us
it
to come to their aid.
appears,
Huh?
yeah, it appears as if what Iran's really done is taken the crap that is old and gathering dust on the shelf, the more primitive stuff. Numbers will always, in the end, overwhelm technology unless the technology is so far advanced it's nothing that people are aware of yet. Even if you had a 50 million man army out of China, those numbers would overwhelm technology. That's just a fact. At a certain point, there's so many variables to that. It's not funny. However, when you're talking about something with a very expensive, very sophisticated anti-missile system, are you able to replace those missiles? Do you have enough in stockpile? The cost of that is outrageous. I mean, I think it's a good 800 grand or 1.2 million per shot. Every time you see a Patriot or a Patriot variant going up, it's quite expensive. And there's only so many, and there's only so rapidly you can replenish them. If you overwhelm a system like that with numbers of garbage, where you've got thousands and tens of thousands of these garbage missiles, but you've got your real good in reserve, think about that. And that it appears as if that may be the case with them. Now, how many of these sophisticated missiles, latest generation, they have, no one really knows if they have hypersonics or not.
So you think
If they have
Israel?
those, then then Iron Dome is in trouble, unfortunately.
You think Israel underestimated them? They were probably. They were
I
probably.
think they were ready for us to come in a bigger
Yes.
way.
Yes. So they were going to do the first round of assault. Bam, bam,
Right,
bam, 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 and then okay, America, your turn. Come on, tag team. And Trump's like, I don't know. I don't know. Let me think about this. That's what's happening right now.
right.
He's
And
bringing
I hear
Israel and
yeah,
Iran to their knees.
right. Both of them. Because then when he steps in at when I think it will occur, and there's no time or day to that. It's exactly what you're thinking, how he steps in. All these people out there screaming, like I love 𝗬𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃. I've loved his work for years. I think the guy's a great guy, but I think he's going a little overboard in the screaming about, oh, bringing us to war, bringing us to war. And I mean, he's only an example. I'm not downing the man at all. Again, I have a lot of respect for his forecast abilities and what he knows and what he puts into it. However, yelling about, he's the war president and he's this and that, that's a tertiary judgment. That's a very surface judgment of the whole situation going on. I don't hear him speak of all of these underlying factors. Maybe he doesn't want to, maybe he doesn't want to factor them. Maybe he doesn't believe that that's the way it's going. But by now, people should see how sophisticated these games are at this level and how much you have to exercise patience, caution, intelligence is paramount in something like this. And when he steps in, it's going to be they're both kind of tired. They're both kind of breathing heavy.
Yeah.
And I think when he steps in, it's going to be, look, we can do this or we can talk.
He brokers the
How
peace
about
deal.
right? How about we talk instead of keeping this nonsense up? But one of the things that'll be a part of those talks is letting inspectors in to every site that
But
is
not just
known.
Iran, also Israel.
It should go both ways, shouldn't it?
I bet you that's what he does.
Right.
When
It
they're
should
both
go both ways.
when they're both utterly exhausted, they have nothing left. They've petered
Or all they
themselves
do
out.
have left, you won't want to use it because it's the N word,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
So,
So when Netanyahu says something like Tel Aviv today, tomorrow in New York, I take that as a threat.
yeah. Or as a, yeah, there's a good threat component to that. And anybody who doesn't see that is deluding themselves. And no, false flags or black swans, yeah, it's highly possible. But I think even parties that would inflict that kind of thing are waiting to see. And I don't think it's going to take that much longer to see where things rest.
I mean,
Um,
Israel had to have full confidence in America in order to do the strikes they did. And they probably had something. I would imagine Trump just recently neutralized something that was, in my mind, something was going to happen here on the American soil. And maybe Trump just neutralized it. And that's why he's saying, give it 2 weeks. Do you think there
yeah,
was going to be some kind of FF that happened here in America on our soil, a terrorist attack to be blamed on
very high,
Iran?
very high probability that was or still is the case to a degree, but something's being done about it. how things play out will give you the answer to that, or at least the most probable answer to that. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. Because the last thing with things with announcements coming up in early July, 6th and 7th, with the BRICS conference, I think those are also going to add a dimension to this that nobody's really talking about right now. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. And maybe they're not talking about it because it might be upsetting and shocking on an economic level for a while. I don't know. There's a possibility of that. But that could be an aspect to this that also serves, let's say, America first agenda.
Do you think, you see all these guys that are coming out, these conservative podcasters, just screaming to the, from the roofs that he's a warmonger, he's going to war with Iran. I see a brilliant strategy here. I see someone who's playing a masterful chess game, and I believe he's playing Iran and Israel against each other. And this is going to show throughout time. Only time will tell. But I think at the end, Israel's exposed, and he's also exposing the warmongers here in America. I think Tucker Carlson did the first part of that with Ted Cruz. I think he's letting the public see who's who here.
Yeah, because with the Tucker thing, you notice very quickly, Tucker, he came out and made peace and apologized, but he did kind of corner him, didn't he? And wasn't going to take the usual party line for the rhinos.
Yeah,
and that's where and the idea that he made peace very quickly, that was probably his job to do that, push and expose that. And Ted Cruz has kept a low profile in that area for a while, but not like Lindsey Graham is out there, screaming red-faced and blurry-eyed and bloodshot-eyed. Hint. And I can't take watching him. I don't even want to hear what he has to say. It doesn't matter what he has to say. It's all going to be the same old tripe nonsense. War, war, war. Excuse me, but F you. Americans are tired of it. They know the game. They don't want to play anymore. And they sure as hell aren't going to send their kids off to this mess over there, should it become something that they wanted. And I don't think it will. It just won't. That goes against all common sense. That goes against all, let's say, recent historical markers up to what you're looking at right now.
So you think by the time the dust settles on this, we're going to expend their resources, Israel and Iran, even though I've heard that Iran is using China technology to break through the Iron Dome in Israel. Have you have any intel on that?
I've heard the same thing, radar jamming, some from space-based platforms, ground-based. I've heard a number of things that were possibly employed. I think we won't know the details of that until all of this blows over, till it's had its day, and it's.
So you think when this is all done,
what it was.
So when this is all done, many bad actors will also be exposed, and also the MSN, they're gonna pull the ripcord on that as well. So all of this is gonna come crumbling down. The old system, the old guard's gonna be coming. They're all gonna fall like dominoes. It's gonna come crumbling down free fall speed. Correct?
I think we're headed to that. Yes, because you're seeing it. You're seeing it. Everyone's screaming so much. He's playing it the best. The administration, him and the administration are playing it the best way you can. Sit back and wait.
It's
There's
amazing. It's amazing
no
for me to
urgency
see.
right at the moment.
It's amazing for me to see all the politicians, conservative podcasters losing their friggin' minds right now.
Uh-huh.
Just like, come on, let's go to war. And then you hear the conservative podcasters, oh my gosh, he's going to take us to war. Everyone's freaking out. And I'm sitting there going, this is unbelievable strategy, man. This is a
Yeah.
strategic move, and he's flushing everybody out.
And nobody's saying sit back,
Oh,
watch the moves. They're all being very reactionary for some reason. And there's no reason for it right now. Honestly, there isn't. Because in the end, uh, we could leave it be if we wanted, but that's not going to be the case. This situation is going to benefit this country first. Secondary, it will benefit the innocent people of Israel who are not part of the regime that's running Israel. And yeah, I use the term regime because he's been in power for 17 years. There are a lot of charges pending against him. They don't play over there when it comes to calling a prime minister on the carpet and putting them in jail. Look at their history. They've thrown several in jail over shitfuckery and shenanigans they play
right.
while in office. He's had 17 years in office. I think his wife Champagne bill is bigger than that of Johnny Depp's wine bill back in the day. And, uh, you know, there's been some material that's leaked out there where you're seeing some of their closest, let's say, contributors and confidants sitting in police and also other interrogation rooms and spilling their guts. So he's trying to avoid the wrath of justice while at the same time playing a viable card in their deck. It is to them and to the world, it truly is. Iran should not and cannot have nuclear weapons as long as these religious factions are in charge. If there's a way to get through this to where they're out of power, and where there might have been a misjudgment is, and I thought personally it would have been a good judgment that the people of Iran would rise up and take care of it. Well, they again, for them, this is brand new also, though they may have known it was coming. All internet is outside their borders is cut off. Within their borders is being heavily, heavily censored and shut down, and the people are being completely spied upon in every aspect possible, so that you have the secret police there keeping the people from doing what they really want to do.
Jeez.
My thinking is, well, if you really want to stand shoulder to shoulder with the Iranian public, you're going to take out the secret police too. Haven't heard any mention of that. Of the state police of Iran. The name escapes me right now. There's so many out there in the world, but they're particularly brutal over there. And I think if they were to take a few hits at their locations around the country, then the people would be more apt to stand up. And they hit more of their communications networks without hitting how people can communicate. Again, a very difficult thing to do. So that remains the Iranian population and their desire to be out from under this tyranny that they're under is being severely hampered electronically. Again, too much dependence on that. Good old-fashioned human networks over there, I'm sure, are in play. I'm sure they were worked with heavily with outside, say, with Mossad or other intelligence agencies aligned. I don't know who, but I'm sure that that was a factor involved in this for them to say, yeah, we have enough to go. So, and they were pushing their card, Netanyahu and his administration and his cronies. There are a lot who disagree with him right now over there on all of this. And again, he's also under the specter of a lot of criminal allegations. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's always best to be in a position where you can say, no, hold on, I've got time, I can wait, I can watch, and I think that's where we are.
This is, I mean, I don't think Israel expected to be hit the way they've been hit. You know,
No, I don't
they're
think
getting
so
pretty,
either.
they're getting pummeled on.
I don't think they expected any interference in their Iron Dome defense system. And I think there has been some because I've watched those videos closely, and you see the missiles they make. They're very maneuverable, but they're maneuvering, but they're missing their targets. And I'm saying something's wrong. I mean, I looked at it from the beginning and just innately, wait a minute, it's not supposed to work that way. That should have taken that one out. And then I see one next to it takes out one, and then a second, but three others get through. Now I understand that the Iron Dome just does not go after every single projectile fired. What it does is it takes into account all incoming projectiles, and it prioritizes based on their arc. The calculus says this one's going to hit this military installation. The system automatically defers to striking that one before the one that looks like it's going to hit in a let's say a
Residential
fruit
area.
grove or
Right.
a residential area
Colorado.
even. So it prioritizes based on incoming trajectories of these different drones and missiles, and then takes out what's going to hit the most important targets first, residential and civilians second, and then those that are going to miss and land in a like an olive grove or a fruit orchard or in the middle of the desert, no, to leave those alone. Um, and it's
It says here a
I
video.
imagine it's a daunting task to begin with.
So this video shows malfunction in Israeli air defense system. So is their dome getting cracked? I mean, whew, it sure seems like
I
it.
think it's I think the weaknesses are being exploited, not to their fullest, but they are being exploited. So is there a crack in their dome? Yeah, I guess you could say that.
So the Iron Dome is failing.
Well, I think it's done a decent job, but again, I don't think it was designed to go on this long and with countermeasures thrown against it.
A full scale war, in other words.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So now they need America.
Looks
Jeez.
that way. They need America or whoever else is willing to step up the ability to do that also. So uh, we'll just have to see.
Let's talk about the terrorist attacks that could hit this. So I just had Christy Hutcherson on talking about that terrorist cells have been activated in America, and basically that they're activated right now, and that we should be watching out. People should be preparing with food, water, supplies. Are you good to talk about
And
that?
yes, and
So
don't
what have
think
you
that
heard?
because, well, yes, I've heard the same thing. And also that how long have I been saying it? And others have only a few others as long as we have for a number of years now. All of those crossing the border, an awful lot of them, they're from many different countries, but there's a lot of them who are professionally trained in the, let's say, the insurgent arts, that of interrupting power supplies, water supplies. Just recently, for example, the Chinese girl is coming in with the fungal spores that would have rendered about 8 major crops basically failing and also contributes to human infertility. Um, so don't think, of course, and I'm just going to speak very frankly, if you're in an urban environment, absolutely you're in the worst environment because of simple congestion of human bodies per square mile. Even in the rural areas, though, there have been many counties throughout the country. The majority of them, if not all of them by now, have received information that says, watch out for those of a Middle Eastern description, casing or hanging around churches in the middle of nowhere, especially if they're taking videos, community centers, city halls, things like that. So if you live in a small county in the middle of a state that's mostly rural, don't discount the fact that you're there. Something may still happen. That would be a broad spectrum placement or enactment of fear if they were to attack rural areas as well as more congested areas.
Here
And that,
says,
and that we've been saying thousands and thousands of them, over 100,000 of 21 million, which is a low estimate, by the way. It's probably more near 30 million,
jeez.
but let's 100 to 110,000 that are not who they came in as. They're very well trained and they're prepared to do that kind of thing. That's more of a worry to me than what is about to happen next over in the Middle Eastern theater.
You know,
And yes, I
I
think
was at uh,
we're in that window right now.
I was at
I'm sorry.
I was at a birthday party the other day. Not the other day, sorry. This was months ago. Actually, geez, this is while Biden was still in office. Sorry, this was at my nephew's birthday. So I was at Peter Piper Pizza, and I remember I saw these MS13 guys, gang members, walking around vehicles with backpacks. They looked like they were scouting. So I walked up to them and I go, "Hey, ¿dónde eres?" And I started talking to them. And when they saw me, man, they started booking it. They started walking real fast. They had tattoos all over their face and everything. They were scout. I know they were scouting the area, man. And it was
Yeah,
just, yeah. I mean, I don't see it anymore. Obviously, not at all anymore because Trump's in there. But I remember seeing
it's
that
going to
going,
be
"Oh
very on the
man,
down low.
what's that?"
It'll be on the down low, but it's still
No, they
going
were
on.
trying to be
Watch
on the
the
down low.
vehicles.
I just spotted them.
Yeah, yeah. You knew what you were looking for.
I just know the type, man. I
And
know they weren't. That's not an El Paso crowd right there.
yeah, yeah. And I have no doubt that they're paired together because
Yeah.
again, their philosophy, as is most, depending on the situation, but them especially, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I have no doubt they've been interfacing with cartels. I have no doubt they've been so that they can call upon, let's say, other resources for disruption in the form of gang members. And again, we've been hinting at it and saying it for a long time now that that was a distinct and real possibility. And yeah, I think every agency should is on full alert for that kind of thing. That means people need to be on full alert for that kind of thing. Water, food, medicines, the basics, all that you need a month. A month is minimum. And a way to get out if you're in the middle of a major city, should that kind of thing be given a green light and erupt. I have no doubt that quietly in the background, that's probably part of discussions, so to speak, that would go on with Iran. Yeah, you pull that trigger and we will hit you hard. Um, what's going back and forth? I don't know. If I did, I wouldn't say anyway, but I don't. I don't know.
I do know that we are in the window right now, before, we're approaching July 4th, where Trump said what did he say? It's like a year-long celebration.
Hmm. Leading up to the
So what are we going to be
250th.
celebrating? I mean, this
Yeah,
looks like it
we
has to come
should.
to a head before then, right? I mean,
It has to. It has to, for time's sake, regarding others' agenda, the globalist agenda, which we all know ends at the end of 2029. They want to be where they wanted to be in
hold
2020.
on. It ends at 2029.
Yeah.
Can you talk about more of that for a second? Hold on. So I've heard that, yeah, 2030 is the agenda 2030. They'll have AI up to speed by that point. Do you want to
Hmm.
go? Let's go to the back channel and talk about that because anytime I talk about the globalist
Yeah.
agenda, that's the type of stuff I've been in the back channel. But Ghost, I appreciate you coming on. This was an epic podcast, quick and to the point. Will MSN be taken down, folks?
Hope so.
Is the Iron Dome cracked? It looks like it's cracked to me. And is Trump dragging his feet and letting them both exhaust themselves? It looks that way to me. And then he comes in with a beast deal at the end there. I don't know. This to me, it's a masterful game of chess, and it's gonna be amazing to see how this plays out. All right, folks. I'll see you at Ninoscorner.tv. I'll see you over there, bro. Ghost.
You got it, buddy.